Welcome to today's episode. I had the absolute pleasure of speaking with Stephen Pisani, a man who runs 6 successful businesses, yet chooses to lead from the heart. What stood out most about Stephen was his openness, his transparency, and a genuine care for his team, qualities that are not just rare but revolutionary in today's landscape. Stephen started by sharing that it was circumstances around COVID that was his catalyst for his leadership transformation. And there is a new wave of change makers who have come through as a result of what happened in 2020. And I am one of those people as well. Actually, thinking about it, I re-stepped back into my work and my purpose. Anyway, one of the things that stands out to me with CEOs is the fact that their personal life and their personal care falls by the wayside. And this tends to happen because they fall into a habit of chasing professional success. This ultimately leads to disappointment and a sense that something is still missing. Because there is a lot of wealth at that level, naturally, and like we see in the world around us, they want to feel fulfilled, but usually they fill these things with material possessions. Reaching externally for that fulfillment rather than pausing to reflect and deep dive within to uncover what else is going on under all of those layers is an opportunity that is being missed. And what I love about Stephen and his story is that he decided to do the personal work, which inspired him to introduce this to his team. And he provides his staff with 4 full days off-site where they come together for personal transformation. It makes my heart sing, and it made my heart sing hearing him say that because he believes his team are his greatest asset. And I especially loved when he says that he sees them as his family. Given that he specializes in family business, it makes sense that this is how he chooses to see his team. And it's amazing that he has surrendered to this knowing. Listening to Stephen, it is noticeable, totally noticeable, that there is a genuine and sincere approach in guiding his team when it comes to these offsites. There is no forcing, just he's just giving them an opportunity to learn something new. And he explains that there is no other agenda other than truly caring for his people. He's not thinking about what he's going to gain out of this. And it is like music to my ears. And I say so many times during the podcast that what he describes, like what he's just said, is like a chef's kiss. Intention and integrity is everything. And what a beautiful way to build trust with your staff. I'd really like you to think back to the places you've worked or currently work and imagine if that was the approach. Maybe you're lucky enough to work in an organization like that, but for the majority, that is not the case. But he provides a safe, sacred space for his team to grow. And if more leaders were curious and spent time understanding their employees, naturally, they would be more successful. But we've been taught to connect superficially, to get on with it, to hit the ground running and deliver the results at any cost. Even the fact that some of his clients couldn't understand why on earth he would take time off with his team is mind-blowing to me. But as a disruptor, he's leading by example. Some of his clients, and he describes this, fell away. But guess what? His alignment and his integrity meant that new, more aligned clients came in and better still created even more revenue. I mentioned to Stephen that he is a diamond in the rough, and he is. It was good that he understood that, and he talks to being an accountant in his industry. He feels like that even more so now. Small business is struggling. And small changes, intentional changes like deepening connection with staff will transform the business. The same applies to medium and large corporates as well. Right now, we're in two worlds, the old way of running a business and the new way. The majority of businesses out there need heart opening and an anchoring into this new energy, but unfortunately, they don't know how to do this. The good news is that they are going to be forced to eventually, whether they like it or not. I love that Stephen talks about trust and how it needs to be there for both the employee and the leader. And it's true, he's not wrong. Trust is absolutely the issue. A lot of the time, it's broken from the onboarding and induction step at the beginning when an employee starts. It happens when there is so much pressure to perform, everyone is looking to protect themselves. So it's almost like a kill or be killed energy. Being a change maker means you're looking at everything as a whole. You're not just looking at the bottom line or focusing solely on outcomes. Something else we talk about is learning everyone's human design. Understanding how to lean into everyone's strengths is a game changer. But again, most employers don't use this as an opportunity. They don't explore it because they don't value deeper connections. Something else to note is that trauma is not allowing this to occur. That's what's sitting under the foundation. It's not allowing for that reflection because it means they have to do that too. And for most, it feels too hard. And that's really sad. That's why working on the personal side of things should be a priority as a CEO because then they are better able to see how beneficial it is for their teams. The benefits of leading from the heart has an impact both personally and professionally. I mean, there's no question about that. Inspiring others comes naturally when you do that, and you feel a deep satisfaction in your work and personal life as a result. But that means reviewing what is out of balance. It means looking at the shadow. It means looking at the parts of ourselves that we disconnect from, that we feel shame about, that the parts that we disown. It's really interesting that Stephen shares that the younger generation in the workforce don't quite understand that they have to work for things, that they want success straight away. But there is an opportunity for us to support them and to keep trying. And it's a good point and a compassionate one. Something else that really stood out to me was our conversation about wealth building and property in particular, and how property is being used right now by organizations. Stephen shares that property is a great way of creating financial freedom. A lot of the time, though, there are players in the market who are focused on their commission, but ultimately, he says that some transactions place people in financial stress and jeopardy. And that makes sense, doesn't it? When you're buying a property, imagine if the people you engage with genuinely cared about your well-being. What if they were honest? What if there were honest conversations about suitability, not just about let me get this money? Imagine the kind of world we would live in if that was the approach. And that is what we're eventually going to get to, but that needs to happen now. Thinking about the future, Stephen believes that large multi high rise properties will change and that the energy needs to change. And I agree. And he shares that there needs to be a social component for housing and purpose along with these businesses. And absolutely fundamentally, this would help with the karmic activity going on in these organizations. And it's just another thing that's being missed. But this is why I do what I do and how I help organizations. This was really inspired conversation because I was getting to talk to a CEO who gets it, a CEO who is aligned with the work that I'm doing. So it felt deeply satisfying to see a CEO who's taking the lead and challenging himself to deepen in all of the ways in order to connect with his team, to deepen his purpose, and to leave a legacy that is going to stand the test of time. His story is a testament to the power of heart-led leadership and the transformation it can bring to both individuals and organizations. Ultimately, this episode is a call to action for leaders and change makers to embrace their humanity, to do the inner work, and create organizations that are not just successful, but deeply fulfilling for everyone involved. Until next time, remember, leading from the heart is more than a choice, it's a revolution. Stay inspired, Marianne.